Hey everybody. So I just wanted to kind of fill you in based off of my experience yesterday, and the reason why I wanted to share what I was going through and be so public about it is because I feel like so many of us are trapped inside of ourselves with no escape due to what society has conditioned us to believe, that our sensitivity, our emotions, our vulnerability is bad. It's shameful, or man, that person is going through a really hard time. They must be mentally unstable. Or, oh, that person is claiming to be a mental health care professional, but God forbid they're going through something. I don't want to say all, because I don't know all of them, but a majority of healthcare professionals, especially in mental health, have all experienced some sort of trauma or event that have caused some sort of negative environment to settle into their body, and they decided that they didn't want to live like that anymore and became drawn to a healing modality of sorts, and wanted to not only heal themselves, but they want to heal others, because I'm a healer archetype. And my life purpose is to help others along their own healing journey by being able to relate to the experiences. If I don't have these experiences, how am I supposed to help other people along their journey? I listen, I tune in, I feel your frequency. I use my tarot cards as a divination tool to help dive in and pick apart those things that you have held so deeply within your subconscious for so long that it built a second home within your body. And I just want to show that I'm able to use my own experiences to help myself and to show others that you don't have to sit. I almost said shit. Try to merge the words. You don't have to sit in that misery. You have a choice. So yesterday was me allowing myself to move through these emotions that I had based off an experience, because I chose to put those emotions toward that experience. I wasn't dismissive about it. I didn't just say, fuck it. I said, I need to sit with this for a moment and ask myself how I feel. So I did just that. And I said, you know what? I'm going to film this. And what I decided to do is kind of like, I guess, videotape myself in live action going through life experiences and educate those who are interested about how I manage life with metaphysical science that has really helped me navigate whenever I do have big emotions or life stressors, like kids that don't listen, because they're just kids and they're learning. Being in a job that I don't find any more joy in, but still making the best of it, knowing that what I'm doing is taking action to start to open other doors to guide me out of a job that's no longer in my alignment. And with yesterday, that was my self-discovery. It wasn't about not being chosen, because this person and I chose each other, but based off of different things that we couldn't get to connect. It just wasn't working, and I was very upfront from day one about my my history, being scared or nervous when it comes to relationships based off of my trauma and my past experiences, wanting to, move slow. And I told him that I do tend to run away from good men because I've never had that, and it is very foreign, and that foreign feeling feels like a threat. So since I kept saying, I'm not ready, I can't do this, we should just be friends, he kept pouring it all out because that's just who he is, which is exactly what I used to do to emotionally unavailable people, like my situationship, who still hasn't grown for shit. That was for me to experience, so that way I could look into myself and realize, wow, that person really has a lot of healing. I've come a long way. What can I do to step away and close that door so I can continue moving on with my positive life and doors that need to open? And this experience with this man was pleasurable. He was kind and giving and really paid attention to me, like every detail. He just gave and gave and gave and gave, trying to prove his worth. And I kept saying, no, just no. And not that I didn't, love him or have any interest in him. It's just my nervous system wasn't ready. And I voiced that. And since he gave too much without reciprocating what he needed in return, without verbalizing, he depleted his cup and his source. And it's like walking through the desert without any water, because you gave it all away and now you're thirsty, and you're eventually going to die if you keep giving away all of that water and not saving any for yourself. And he did that. And whenever you do that in relationships, it creates resentment. And, he claimed that there wasn't any resentment, but when it all boils down, yeah, actually it is, because now you don't want to repair the relationship that we built a solid foundation on. Like, you built the foundation, but you didn't go finish the rest of the house because it became too much. Like, you bought a house, the plumbing's fucked up, and you can't just leave it like that. You paid a lot of money for this house. Like, you work on it. And with me going through that experience and sitting with myself and doing my embodiment practices, it was easy for me to figure out the lesson that I was supposed to learn through that energetic contact. And that was, if I'm going to find my next life partner, because I want my next relationship to be my life partner. Like, I want to be able to live out the rest of my soul contract with another human being based off of the want and not like the codependent need of another individual. Interdependence is very important to me, and so is my freedom. So not only did this man show me all the things love that I wanted, he also showed me that he wasn't emotionally mature enough to repair the situation, even though we were both able to recognize our faults. And I was able to own them, but and I can't speak for what he is experiencing right now. It's going to be something that he will have to discover on his own. But I want a partner who can actually repair and communicate whenever they receive, those twinges in their gut saying that this isn't right, and not be afraid to speak about them. And, I did talk about it. There was no communication that I didn't say, that I didn't feel, and I was very honest. The only thing I did was not step into and lean into the love that he was giving. And a lesson for him that he had to understand was, you can't keep over giving to somebody who isn't ready to receive. And by the time I realized that I was ready to receive was the same time that he was closing the book, and then I was closing the door from the past, and it just didn't work. So I decided I can't sit here and dwell on it, that I I didn't get chosen. It was a mutual agreement of, well, this just isn't going to be something that we're going to pursue. We learned our lessons, and now that it energetically shifted my energy to more openness to where I can receive what is truly mine. So I know what to look for and what to watch out for, but it's all within here. And sitting with myself, and now I'm able to recognize, yes, I am ready for love. I am no longer ready to settle. Not that I was trying to settle with him, but settling on the fact that I wasn't chosen. I'm not, like, I used to become really depressed. I would lay in my bed for days, or be moody and take my feelings and project them onto people and kind of be a dick, but not really realizing I was being a dick. And I don't want to do that, because that's not who I am, and I'm not going to treat other people like shit that didn't do anything to me. Because we all have a choice on how we react to what people do to us. So if somebody's going to not pick me, then I'm going to say, that's fine, that's your choice. Because you should be the only one being able to choose what you want to make you happy. So I can't be mad at this person for not choosing me because it didn't make him happy. I fully support your journey, wherever it may go, whatever you may do. Just, I'll send you away with love, thank you, and goodbye. I do a lot of things with metaphysics to help keep my vibration running really high, because if you don't have a positive frequency continuously around you, then you're not going to be able to manifest. And I would like to do another video on how to properly manifest the things that you actually want, instead of settling for the things that aren't energetically matching for you. But so this morning, as I was, I did my yoga, my breath work, I sat in meditation. I still need a journal, but it's still, it's on my list. I've been working with a lot of things this morning already, and trying to study a little bit right now. And I had to stop studying because I needed a brain break. Figured this would be the perfect time to kind of open a door about explaining my video yesterday. And I always talk a lot, so these kind of carry on for a while, but they're fun. I just want to show in real time that we can make the right choices for our lives to move forward whenever we have a very difficult experience. Something else that, I wanted to be able to talk about as I was sitting with myself this morning is how far I've come from who I used to be. And there's a lot of you out there who used to know me as an alcoholic. Like, I drank my life away for a solid, 10 years maybe. Like, I don't even remember my fucking 20s. Just hanging out at the fucking cherry pit, getting so drunk that I was sober. And there's some people out there that will, if you watch this, you'll remember if you can remember. But I'm pretty proud of myself for stepping out of that old life and not allowing my trauma to hold me down anymore. I decided to let go of those bags. And whenever I started to dive into metaphysics, I realized that I don't have to be any of that, and I don't have to carry anybody's shit, just my own. And whatever I don't want to carry with me anymore, I don't have to, because everything is a choice. We all can make that decision. If something doesn't feel right, sit with your body and ask, because all of those answers are going to come from within. Whenever you sit with yourself, and you listen and trust your own intuition and your own body, you give yourself the ability and trust to feel less isolated or anxious. You can handle, life's ebbs and flows easily, just like me from yesterday, sitting with myself, discovering what I was feeling, allowing it to come, giving it grace, giving it love, thanking that emotion and sending it the fuck away. Because I don't need it anymore, but I'm not going to push it down to my subconscious, because then my body's going to hold it. And then I'm going to feel sick. I'm going to get headaches. I'm going to rush off to other temporary things to fill this void, whether it be sex, drugs, food, no food, because I went through an eating disorder for a good 6 to 8 months a couple years ago. Is that 3 years ago? After my divorce. And I lived off of protein shakes for a really long time. And I dropped my weight down to, I think the final lowest weight was 111 pounds for a 5'7.5" woman. And my ideal body weight is at least like between 120 and 145. So that wasn't healthy. We just wind up making ourselves suffer. But the more you sit with yourself, you start to see other people with more compassion. You start to live with more purpose. And you realize that even if the sun isn't shining outside, the sun is always shining inside, because you create your own sunshine. And I really respect myself for that. Even if, some of you look at me like, oh, that bitch is crazy, she has emotions. That's good for you. But you realize that your perception of me is only the truth that you're telling within yourself. So you're creating a version of me that you don't like about your own self. And that's something you should probably sit with too, because the way I see it is we need to look at everybody as their own, each individual human. I don't give a shit what you like or what tickles your fucking pickle. Just tickle your pickle if it brings you joy. Whatever. I can't judge you because I don't live your life, and I don't want to. I really enjoy my own. Backing up to sitting with yourself, you get to the understanding that you don't have to have constant reassurance from the outside world. You get to operate from your own inner strength that you've built out of your own blood, sweat, and tears. You built that foundation, and you are now a successful, beautiful person, not only on the inside, but on the outside too, and it's flowing. Like, this is what metaphysical science awakening is all about, is being one with who you are, not everybody else. You don't have to do what society thinks you should do, because then you're just going to bury yourself. You might as well buy a fucking placard for your grave, because you're just burying yourself. Nobody wants to do that. We all want to be happy. I support everybody's happiness, and this is what I want to show everybody, is we can all become one with ourselves and those around us to start living in a happy, healthy life, and go through bullshit and still have a support system to say, hey, you're going through a rough time, I'll be there for you, instead of running away saying, look at that. Like, you can't even bring out your own emotions that you've stuffed inside your body. Everybody's walking around like they're okay. Like, oh, I have this great and wonderful life, but, my partner still yells at our kids and comes home late, and there's no communication. What if there is communication? And what if I get all this stuff from my partner? Like, it looks like we're outside, like we're happy on the outside, but internally you still can't talk about how you're really feeling. Just like this guy. Everything looked great out here, but he was allowing himself to suffer. And I don't want anybody to suffer. I don't want to suffer. We just need to be more open. Dude, so I remember after my divorce, and I realized that Matt was a narcissist and a gaslighter, and I had some of that in me too, I'm not gonna lie, but I just didn't know it. still based off of old traumas. I just decided to hold myself accountable and change it. There is this lady, and if she watches this, she will know exactly who she is. And she told me, oh my God, something along the lines, because I wrote something on Facebook about recognizing, Matt's bullshit. And she was like, oh my God, like, how could you put that all over the internet? Like, that happened to me too, but I didn't put it out on the internet. She's like, you need to keep that to yourself. And I was like, the fuck I will, lady. And how old are you and you're still single? You're like 65. No, I'm not going to do that. That's not my energetic alignment. Why can't I voice this? Why can't I say, hey, I was abused? Why can't I say, hey, I acknowledge what I did and I stood up for myself and I changed it, and this person didn't? Instead, you get looked at like it's just, you're gonna fucking break a law. Jesus. No, I won't, but I will say that I was abused. And why can't people know? And he's still verbally abusive, but he's come a little bit of a way, but we're not going to go into that. That's not why I'm here. I'm here for me. Long story short, because this is long, because I like to talk. Yesterday's video was just a part of what I'm going to start doing and living in real time. And I want to show everybody that, the things I do with metaphysical awareness to keep my life moving and my happiness glowing. I will continue to do this from time to time. I do have, life and kids and a job that happen to flow with me as well. So as I discover things and how I can utilize metaphysical stuff in my everyday life, I'm just going to show it. And if something resonates with somebody, cool. If you have questions, awesome. I am going to the University of Metaphysics to get my PhD in ancestral healing. And this is all part of the healing process. Being vulnerable, discovering your magic, moving on, allowing yourself to sit with pain and blessing it and moving on to the next project. It's all about flow, infinity. Everything is about flow. That's why I have all the 8s on my social media, because I'm in a constant flow of giving and receiving. There's reciprocity no matter what I do in my life, because I'm always winning. And I want you to win too. Bye.